Question: do we have to pay transaction fees when we exchange at redemption centers? Marks: I was told that one of the biggest reasons to go to a redeeming bank/exchange center is that you will get access to your money right away, and also all fees are already done. This will give you the best rate as possible. The banks that we communicate with are well prepared. In fact, for over 2 weeks they have been preparing for clients like you, Iraqi citizens, and me. Sudani is moving at a quick pace. All American banks and all CBI private banks are ready to make the successful transaction from the 30 notes to the new lower notes with the new exchange rate. Iraqi banks have also been readied. Ministry of Transport announces that the completion rate of the development road project designs has increased to 63%. Quote, the Ministry of Transport announced the completion rates of the Strategic Development Road project, which is scheduled to open in 2029. The completion rates for the detailed designs phase of the railway line reached 64%, and the land route 60%, while the cumulative completion rates for the detailed designs of the project reached 63%. A trade surplus generally increases the value of a currency due to higher demand, while a trade deficit tends to weaken it because of increased supply. The relationship between import and export costs and currency value is driven by the supply and demand dynamics in international currency markets, Forex. Iraq's plans for income outside of the oil industry hopefully can eliminate any potential imbalances in imports and exports. Even, the United States is striving to balance the import and export revenues. When you hear Trump saying, "Let's make the country great again," what he is actually saying is, we should decrease imports and increase exports. And we will decrease the imports by adding tariffs to imported goods. Mr. Sami just told me when Iraq cancels the auctions and the changeover occurs to the dinar, that's actually a process of the revaluation. Frank, that is the last step in the process. The question is, when will this happen? In my strong opinion, this is based on the ending of the auction on December 31, 2024, then January 1, 2025 should be a start. Of course you know this is the Middle East, so I'm not offering you a date. You know the Iranian politicians in Iraq are doing everything to stop it. If this event wasn't real, they wouldn't be stopping it. Our economy and banks in 2025, this is an ongoing theme in Iraq. We saw similar articles right before Kuwait revalued their currency. Iraq is in a phenomenal position compared to the rest of the world. I understand why Jamie Dimon called Iraq the economic savior of the world. My bank represents the CBI. It represents my boss Donny. We will give you hundreds of these private bank sites that will represent the CBI. They are not going to be hard to find. You will see them all over in many different areas, especially close to banks. Tomorrow the opening of the electronic passport system in American cities of Los Angeles and Detroit. What's that mean? We have some big populations of Iraqis in those communities. On the 16th they're going to allow you to get a passport electronically. There's going to be a lot of Iraqis that have Iraqi dinar just like we do. When that purchasing power comes, they're going to have purchasing power. That's why Sudani and other have been hoping they could repatriate those people, to help that money they have come back home and invest. The electronic passport system, in coordination with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, is a big deal. Is there any coincidences? I don't think so. There are no coincidences. Question: is this our week, Mark? Marks: there is an excellent chance that it is. Hopefully I will have an update by this evening. Something is going to change because they are looking at changed rates on contracts and what they will be getting paid and how. I do know for certain there have been negotiations over a new rate. So rate is about to change, or they would not have negotiated it. There are some pretty excited people in Iraq. You know how many times that makes that Sudani told the citizens that he's going to keep his solemn oath promise to give them purchasing power. You know how many times he has said that. This is the 9th time. Why would Sudani be a habitual informer to the citizens that he's going to keep his promise of giving them purchasing power through a new exchange rate by lifting the 3 zeros off their exchange rate and introduce lower notes? Why would Sudani do that so many times? After being convicted of fraud and dismissed from the presidency of parliament, which affected his political standing and influence, the head of the Progress Party, Mohammed al-Halbasi, is seeking to return to the scene by trying to get closer to the United States, amid warnings of his involvement in dangerous projects that threaten the unity of Iraq. Al-Halbasi visited the United States for political purposes in the past few days, which sparked controversy and was criticized by political forces because he does not have an official position that would allow him to do so, especially since the region is experiencing tense conditions as a result of the control of terrorist groups over Syria, and the infiltration of the Zionist entity into Syrian territory with declared American support. In this regard, member of the United Anbar Alliance, Ahmed el-Dulami, said in a statement to Al-Maluma Agency, the head of the Progress Alliance, Mohammed al-Halbasi, held meetings during his visit to the United States of America with American and Zionist figures that discussed, in an undeclared manner, mobilizing international support for the establishment of the Anbar region, in addition to mediating to prevent it from being included in the U.S. Treasury sanctions and his disagreement with Sheikh Rod al-Sulaiman regarding the proposal to establish the Anbar region supported by the Gulf states. He added that al-Halbasi's meeting with American officials was managed by Zionist figures to implement a plan aimed at dividing Iraq into disintegrating sectarian states that would be vulnerable to foreign interference, indicating that secret agreements were concluded between al-Halbasi, America and the Zionist entity to initiate a plan aimed at destabilizing the security and stability of Iraq to extend the stay of its forces indefinitely. He continued, al-Halbasi's visit came after Zionist threats were issued to strike Iraq with an American green light, adding, al-Halbasi held intensive contacts with the King of Jordan and Saudi Arabia upon the conclusion of his visit to America. For his part, Al-Fatah Alliance member Ali Aziz said in an interview with Al-Maluma Agency, al-Halbasi's movements, his visit to the United States, his meeting with figures in Anbar and the Western region, and his holding of celebrations is a marketing of his personality, as he went bankrupt from the presidency of parliament and his bankruptcy was due to his deliberate forgery, so the judiciary removed him from the position. Indicating that his current move aims to create a political independence for himself after his failure to become the president of